Peace, 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 peace. Peace, peace, love, and light to all the American Aborigines. This is your brother Aboriginal Power, aka Copper Grizzly. I want to say peace and blessings to each and every one of you guys that's tapping into this live stream. I do have a nice little bill put together for you guys. That I just want to put together, deal with some ancient information, some artifacts in North Carolina area, going back, just out of place archaeology, strictly dealing with human existence in America over 30,000 years, dominantly. So with that being said, peace and blessings to everybody. Make sure you share this on all your social media outlets. If you don't mind hitting the like button as soon as you come off in the building. And let's get to some audio. Hit the like.
Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Where the fuck am I going? Who the hell could I be? All this time I've been lost. Vessel trapped in the sea. Chains holding my legs. I just want to be free. Fist picking my throat. Hell yeah, and they know it. Heritage keep going. You can see it in my phenotypes and that damn Indian showing. This knowledge keeping me steady. 45 on my hip and my armor man stay ready. I hit the streets in my Chevy. Blunt, burning, smell smoke in heaven. Man, here you go, I got plenty. Prayers up for a sinning. In the land I lost many. Cause every nigga ain't friendly. And every man ain't milling. No D-Bows for Stanley. No heroes for my family. But the kids killing us daily.
Hey, hit them like buttons, y'all. Hey, 21 people in the chat. Drop some fire emojis in the chat if you can hear me loud and clear. Peace and blessings, you guys.
All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Where the fuck do you come from? Kidnapping our babies. 11 million abortions. Whole country is scorching. Natives stealing my portion. Bitch, give me my land back. We ain't signed no contracts. Why you wasting all of our trust funds? We don't know who your dad is, but we know who your kin for. Take the food off of my plate. Eat that shit with my folk. You invader. Motherfucking invader. Invader. This is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Hey ya, 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 hey ya. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, send home the invader. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Hey ya, 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 hey ya.
Hey, let's get these likes up, y'all. Share this around. Peace and blessings. I got a nice little bill, man. Shout out to A1, man. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that's A1 on that song, y'all. No, I'm just bullshit. That ain't A1. Shout out to Beachy the Shredder, though, man. That's one of my favorite songs, though. All praises to the Most High, man. Peace and blessings to everybody in here, man. Peace to the universe, peace to the ancestors, peace out to nature, governing our natural law, man. Peace and blessings to everybody. Hopefully, everybody's having a blissful day. Before I jump into this build, I got some reading I'm gonna be doing, so bear with me. Peace and blessings, y'all, man. How y'all feeling, man? Y'all, man, let's get the energy up. We got 33 in here. We got like 23 likes. Let's get a few more likes up in the building. Peace and blessings, man. This is the Wake and Bake Show. Hopefully, y'all good. This is the Wake and Bake Show. You understand me? So let's get it. Got 40 of them in here. Shout out to the family members. Shout out to the cousins. Shout out to all the cousins in the chat. Peace and blessings to everybody. Let me light my wood up. No offense. If anybody, give you enough time to grab y'all tea and everything. But before I get into the build per se, I guess I'll take my time out to shout out some of my cousins off in here. Shout out to Omega Red, Aniji Wolf, Turtle Island Niji, Tight Sound, the North American Negro. Shout out to bro. Rashawn, Wilmore Reed, Moonfae, Shanera Smith. Peace to you. Cal Finch, Kiwanis the Aborigine, Donawoo. I hope I pronounced that right. Brendan Rogers, Daphne Manning, TNT Clan, Chris Jackson. What's up, AB? Chief Amaru, peace, and Shamario Yadu. I hope I pronounced that shit right too, but I'll be fucking up big time. Shout out to all the real ones, man. Omega Red, salute. Captain America. And when it's beef, you can get capped in America. You feel what I'm saying? That's a fact, nigga. Bars. Let's get straight to it, man. How y'all feeling out there? Yeah, we lit. I ain't been in here. Get y'all good one. Hope y'all enjoy the bill. When you back in South Carolina, AP? I don't know. I plan on coming out soon, man. Real soon. Coming back down there. Can't wait. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, I got to catch the bill with Ryan March, man. I appreciate all the support. I know a lot of people left comments, said they accidentally donated to my old Cash App. I'm like, dang, I was trying to tell everybody. If anybody donating to the Cash App that says Zelly or AB Power, get rid of that one. That Cash App is no longer in existence. So sorry about any inconvenience from anyone. I appreciate any supports and anybody that had any thoughts of supporting the thoughts that count, man. Really appreciate that. And Ryan March, definitely more important than anybody. Really appreciate all the work and help that he gets. All right, yeah, hit me up, bro. Omega Red, definitely hit me up, bro. Natchez, Miss in here. White Radell, what's going on? Natchez, Mississippi. Missouri in here. What's going on, bro? How you feeling? Peace and blessings. Good to see you in the chat, dog. Good to see you, man. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, man. It's the Wake and Bake Show with your brother, Big Al Power, man. Y'all already know what it is. Copper Grizzly in here. Y'all already know, man. Hopefully, y'all feeling good. I'm feeling great. It's fucking hot outside, so I'm not outside right now. Well, I'm not gonna hold you guys any longer, man. Before we get started, can I have some? I'm gonna have AP out here with the cattle, nigga. I used to go cow tipping, nigga. Not one of them damn cows out, nigga. One of these lefts. I was bullshit. Mississippi, all right. We got Mississippi in here. All right, that's what's up. Mississippi in the building, man. Let's get to it. Drop some fire emojis if y'all can hear me loud and clear. Want to make sure we good. Let's get the visuals going. Make sure we good with the visuals. Just let me know if y'all can see and hear me loud and clear. We'll get it going. I want to really make sure y'all can hear me, so make sure y'all drop some fire emojis. And also, like I said, please, I appreciate if y'all can share this on all your social media outlets. So y'all see what's on the screen. So this is from the Post and Courier. It's a pretty Pretty accurate site. We go to where ancient humans here 50,000 years ago. Shout to Omega Red. South Carolina discovers reveals people were in the region before previously thought. So this is one of the sites down there, what they call the Topper site. uh, Found all kind of historical artifacts proving that people was here longer than the 12,000 that's alleged, and even older than the max time that they give you during Clovis, which is 20,000. This is almost double that, well, a little bit over double that. So let's get into it. Archaeologist Al Goodyear measured the depth in the digging at the Topper site near the Allendale, where evidence of the human occupation was found. And the Goodyear said that dates back to 50,000 years. Let's highlight this right here on the screen. We want to make sure we can get everything on the screen. Just make sure we can get everything on the screen clear. So hopefully y'all can see everything. Let's highlight that right there. Drop some ones in the chat if y'all can see and hear me loud and clear. Let's read into some more of this site. People were burning fires at the quarry near the Savannah River as far back as 50,000 years ago. That will have been before the worst of the Ice Age and the millennium before South Carolina is thought to have been inhabited. All right, so this is they found an evidence that goes back 30,000 to 40,000 years before an ice age, which would have put you at what you would call antediluvian history, or pre-flood, or pre-impact, or pre-cataclysm. All right, so this would have goes into the Inca stone. We're gonna get into some artifacts found as well. So let's keep on reading. The stunning finding. Let's highlight this. Stunning finding from the Topper site near the Allendale, Karak Estrad research world less than 2 decades after Al Goodyear's first dig. They took the lid off of conventional archaeology thinking, right? Topper is a lot older than 50,000 years ago, Goodyear said, referring to the date he established with his early work. I think it's going to be the next frontier of exploring human origin. When and where did our people begin and where our people disperse? That's a lot at stake here. So not only are they saying that it's evidence of humans older than 50,000 years, which it said Topper is much older than 15,000 years, excuse me. And he says it is dated older than that. It might be the origin of exploring human origin. It might be the center point of exploring human origin, and which is the cradle of civilization, which is also recommended at Africa. You also got Levant area that's been credited, and now you got the Carolinas has been credited to being maybe the origins or the cradle of life, not only civilization. What's significant that you also find in the Carolinas region? You find the brother Perry's DNA, which goes back older than any living human species known to man. The brother's DNA is older than any known species of human being, and it's found right here in America, where they're saying that the origins of human possibly began. So let's continue reading, you guys. So hopefully hit the like button. Remains of charcoal deep in the ground were found at approximately 50,000 years old, when they say that when they were radiocarbon dated. Other stone tool artifacts were uncovered alongside them. Goodyear and the Topper team are preparing the findings of a peer review publication, and we're gonna get into the actual peer review publication that was put out. It was viewed by all their peers, and they all agree that this particular site is well over 50,000 years. He talked about it and put it in context, starting recent finds of the tools and animals and bones that had been butchered in a mastodon tusk at a Florida dig, right? So they comparing some of the older 30 to 40,000 year old evidence found in Florida compared to some of the shit found in the Carolinas, right? Which is not too far from each other. If the dating is solid, and the artifacts identify as being anthropogenic, man-made, without any doubt, this is a splendid addition to our knowledge of early human occupation in North America, said Phil Manning. College of Charleston paleontologist, right? That's the brother Phil Manning from the College of Charleston dealing with paleontology. All right, so let's go up. Keep it going, you guys. Bear with me. I have no doubt that this will be a hotly debated topic for some time, as paradigm shifts often take a while to gain acceptance, but the evidence appears to be solid, right? So it said, even though the evidence is there, even though the facts is here, the data is there, even though, and what it's saying is, even though all this is in place, it still would take some time from other archaeologists to accept it based off of them being emotionally attached to their work that obviously is not correct. So this takes some time sometimes. So Goodyear, a retired South Carolina Institution of Archaeology and Anthropologist professor at the University of South Carolina, it all started with a church chopper, a piece of stone with a blade face hammer out of it, right? That's the first found of the 1990s at Topper site. The church choppers and cores, waste flakes, and other small tools, right? So that's what was initially brought them to looking at the site and to even having the ideas of going deeper at that particular time, at that particular site. So what it's saying is we predate any artifacts found in Mesopotamia, civilization in Africa, anywhere. America is where it all is where the science started at. Whether you want to call it America, fuck what you want to call it, this landmass that you Negroes, right? Now y'all know who y'all are, where y'all feet is, man. Let's get to it. The piece in the blaze cut them were relatively small. Suggestively, they were used to carve ornaments from bones, ivory, and antlers. They were dug up from a point deeper in soil sediment than the Clovis tools are found. That date humans in the Americas back 12 to 13,000 years. So they even found shit that was going older than the Clovis tools. And the Clovis tools only went back 12 to 13,000 years. So I'm going to go on to another article. I'm not going to bore you guys to death. Let's go to the other article dealing with the Topper site. Let's deal with it. Let's get into it. So this is Topper site in the middle of the Comet controversy. Like I said, this is before Ice Age. This is before a flood. This is before any people allegedly occupied and inhabited the Carolinas. You have evidence of people here thriving, and also here before impact and some type of cataclysm. So if you're still finding evidence of these people after a cataclysm, do you think that you would have found more evidence before cataclysm? Obviously, yes, the cataclysm would have played a direct impact to a lot of the artifacts and data that we can accumulate through research and archaeology, and would not be there no more due to a cataclysm. But let's get into what they have found, right? All right. Did a massive comet explode over Canada 12,900 years ago, whipping out both beast and man in North America and propelling the Earth back into an ice age? That's a question that has been highly debated by scientists since 2007 in the University of South Carolina's Topper site, archaeology site, right in the middle of the comet impact controversy. However, however, a new study published today in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science proves further evidence that they may not be such a far far-fetched notion, right? That Ice Age didn't exist. Albert Goodyear, right? Shout out to Al Goodyear, which is the guy who was just now working on the site down in North Carolina, South Carolina. Let's go back up to there so y'all know what I'm talking about. Close that out. So this particular site right here, that's the guy who was working on that from down at Topper. All right. Al Goodyear, an archaeologist at the USC College of Arts and Science, is a co-author on the study of upholds the 2007 PANS study by Richard Firestone, a staff scientist at the Department of Energy's Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, right? He's a pretty high respected guy, high field, high class, very respected with his work. Let's go. Firestone found concentrations of Swifers, which is micro-sized balls, spherules, which is micro-sized balls of metal, and nano-sized diamonds in the layer of sediment dating 12,900 years ago. At 10 to 12 archaeologists cite that his team examined. So they done found these particular micro-sized balls, what they call spherules or spherules, and which is little metal balls, micro balls, and diamonds usually come from some type of heat impact out of nowhere, very quick, very hard, a lot of pressure, a lot of heat. All right, mixed particles is thought to be a result of an extraterrestrial object, such as a comet meteorite exploding the Earth's atmosphere. Among the sites examined, the USC's Toppers, one of the most pristine U.S. sites on the Clovis, one of the earliest ancient peoples. Right, so let's get into it. This independent study is yet another example to how the Topper site, with the various interdisciplinary studies in the interdisciplinary studies has connected ancient human archaeologists with significant studies of the Pleistocene area, said Goodyear, who began excavating Clovis artifacts in 1984 at the Topper site in Allendale, South Carolina. Now, mind you, that's what initially brought them there. The flint heads, the other things that was found there that they say brought them there. That's what they got, Clovis first. As they was digging at this particular site at Clovis first, they ended up finding shit that was older than what they call Clovis, which is 12 to 19,000 years ago. They found shit going back 50,000 years ago. This became one of the most pristine sites in the area. The Younger Dryas is what science referred to the period extreme cooling that began around 12,900 years ago and lasted 1,300 years. While that brief ice age has been well documented, occurring during the period of progression solar warming after the last ice age, the reason for it have long remained unclear. The extreme rapid cooling that took place can be likened to the 2004 scientific blockbuster movie, The Day After Tomorrow, right? It's when everything just started freezing. Good movie. I think it got Tom Cruise or some shit in it. Y'all should go check it out. Firestone team presented the proactive theory that a major impact event, perhaps a comet, has a catalyst, was the catalyst. His copious sampling of the detailed analysis of sediment at the layer in the Earth dated to 12,900 years ago, also called the Younger Dryas boundary, right, which is a YDB, proved evidence of microparticles such as iron, silica, iodine, and nanodiamonds. I hope I ain't fuck up on that, but I will highlight that so y'all can see it. Right, and diamonds. The particles are believed to be consistent with a massive impact that could have killed off Clovis people in a large North American animals of this day. 36 species, including mastodon, mammoth, saber-toothed tigers, went extinct during the same time, right? Scientific communities is rarely quick to accept new theories. Firestone theory in support of for dominant and annual meeting for the American Geological Union and other gathering of Paleo-Indian archaeologists in 2007 and 2008. However, a 2009 study led by the University of Wyoming researcher Todd Sovell failed to replicate Firestone's finding at 7 Clovis sites, slowing interest in researchers' progress to the glacial pace. This new PNAS studies refute Sovell findings with its lack of reported evidence, right? So Sovell just went out there and just made a bunch of claims with no data. That's what they're saying. Sovell's work was in vain because he didn't replicate the protocol. We missed it we missed it too at first. It seems easy, but unless you follow the protocols rigorously, you will fail to detect these fears. There are so many factors that can disrupt the process where Chauvel found no spurs, where fears hundreds and to thousands. He just showed that he didn't do no research. He said, where the same place he researched to do Chauvel and said they didn't find no spurs, the motherfucking people came after that. My man Al Goodyear came and found hundreds to thousands of these motherfuckers, said Michael LeCompte. I don't know what the fucking name is. A researcher associated professor at Elizabeth State University and the leader author of the newly released PNAS article. LeCompte began to independently study in 2008 using further refining Firestone samples and sorting methods at two sites. Common are the three studies: Blackwater Draw in the New Mexico, Topper, and also at Topper. He also took samples from Paw Paw Cove in Maryland in a site common to several studies. So as we get into these studies, they starting to find this great impact zone. And we're gonna get into some audio just to prove along with some of what I'm saying. But let's get into this. I'm gonna read this next little article. We done. At each site, he found the same microscopic spheres, which were a diameter of a human hair. And distinct in appearance, he described their look tiny black balls bearing with a mirror surface patterning and the results from being crystallized in a molten state and then rapidly cool. His investigation also confirmed that the spurs was not a cosmic origin, but formed from earth materials due to extreme impact. All right. So this is fact. It's showing that something had to collide. It was these spears and these diamonds at this site to give this impression in the soil. And not only are you finding an impact at this particular time period, you're finding human evidence, fire burning, scalping, things going on at the same time for it. All right, so let's get into it. LeCompte said that the Topper and Goodyear collaboration, however, that yielded the most exciting results. What he had at the Topper and now elsewhere pieces of manufacturing debris from stone tool making by the Clovis people. Topper was active. An ancient quarry at this time, LeCompte said Al Goodyear was instrumental in the approach to getting samples at Topper, right? So without LeCompte needed Goodyear because he was the main guy there doing the archaeologists. LeCompte needed it to prove his point that Chauvel's was wrong. Okay, I just wanted to let y'all know what's going on in this article. Goodyear showed LeCompte where the Clovis level has an order of accuracy guide had sampling of sediments of the Younger Dryas boundary layer. He advised him to samples around the Clovis artifacts and then to carefully lift them to test the settlement directly underneath. All right. Debris was raining down from the atmosphere. The artifact should have acted as a shield, preventing spears from accumulating in the layer underneath. It turns out it really worked, Goodyear said. There were up to 30 times more spears and just above the Clovis surface than beneath the artifact. All right, so I'm gonna stop it right there, man. This is actually a pretty good article once you get into it. It goes into a lot of unique things dealing with this particular science, and also it gives you a more tuned layout of what's going on in that particular region. Let's go to the one of the videos down in the North Carolina area. Let's go to the great site. Let's get it on here. Let's get it cracking, y'all.
History left today. And this is kind of the landscape of the area here.
It's just a breakdown so y'all can get
these ruins were on the east and west side of the small Garden Creek here.
This Topper site,
and I have a feeling they extended into this neighborhood here. I haven't really tracked down exactly where they were,
hit the like button, y'all. Share this
I think they're right down in this area here. Maybe just a few slight remnants of the city that existed here, the houses, maybe going back 800 years, 1,000 years, earliest occupation.
houses there go back 800 years. See what I'm saying?
Where they
Houses
were,
there
but
go back 800
I
years.
think they're right down in this area here. Maybe just a few slight remnants of the city that existed here. The houses, maybe going back 800 years, 1,000 years. Earliest occupation here goes back 10,000 years. The burial mounds dated roughly 1,500 years ago, and then cities kind of popped up here 800,000 years ago. But really, today, not a trace. And that's kind of unfortunate. There was excavation work that went on here, but does anybody in this area know the history of this area right?
Hey man, if y'all can hear everything out here and see everything loud and clear, please drop some fire emojis. I'm going to look in the chat real quick. So drop some fire emojis. Support the channel, man. I got a fire bill strictly dealing with archaeologists in the Carolina, Florida area. Let's get
Down here, I guess there is a sign here. We might as well read that. That's the only thing left of this place. Let's just read. Here's a sign down here. Garden Creek, Cherokee Villages and Mounds, 1/3 mile west, a key site for archaeologists, occupied from 8000 BC to the 1660s. So first occupied 10,000 years ago. Here's a website I found, the Garden Creek Archaeological Project. They did some work here maybe 8 years ago. Here's some of their excavation pics. They found some refuse pits and a few other things here, and I will leave this below. And I found a few PDFs on this, and this is a diagram of the site here where the mounds were.
That'll give y'all a little logistics of what's
In
going
the
on.
village, and the black lines here is the border of the village. The black circles are where the mounds were, and it looks like the mounds formed a perfect triangle down here. Is that a coincidence? Probably not. So based on that PDF and that diagram, we can certainly say that the village was in this area here, probably extended well into the neighborhood here. I am just talking as I am learning about this site. That's why I make these videos, to learn. It's the best way to learn, make videos, and I encourage some of you to start. I know some of you are thinking about it. Here are some potsherds found in Garden Creek Mound number 2. Just a few of them, small ones. Here's a pic from about 45 years ago. It says remnant of the Contesti phase, secondary mound at the Garden Creek, mound number 2. The most interesting artifacts recovered from the Garden Creek mound number 2 were those of non-local exotic materials or exhibiting non-local.
And if you look at this foundation, this looked like something that was here and totally dismantled and left here. You know what I mean? This was some type of old work concrete. This was definitely not a mound. I don't believe. And if it was, I think it was something else here, like a building. And this what a building would look like that's at a ruin. And a place that would become a ruin in a place like this would have direct results of an impact. This looked like a house that would have been in direct results of a cataclysm. And this is what remains left.
Artistic styles, and this just seemed to be another place where they traded goods from all around ancient America. Clay figurines, prismatic chert blades, cores from which these blades were struck, copper sheets, beads, and copper pin demonstrate connections with other middle woodland groups living in eastern Tennessee and Ohio.
Hey, Middle Eastern Tennessee, Ohio, shout out to that region, man. Look what it's talking about. Copper pins, copper sheets. You know what I'm saying? All kind of shit was found here.
Many of these specimens appear to have originated in the Hopewell region of Ohio, imported where
He said aboriginated. Listen to him.
with other middle woodland groups living in eastern Tennessee and Ohio. Many of these specimens appear to have originated in the Hopewell region of Ohio. Imported wares from Ohio, Hopewell, and eastern Tennessee areas were also found. Micah?
The Hopewell area, man. Shout out to the Hopewell, Tennessee area, man. There's a lot of communication science going on that was still using what you would call ancient Mayan and Olmec science and calendars.
Was highly valued by the Hopewell peoples, so interaction between the Ohio Hopewell and the Conestoga peoples may.
Now, mind you, most of the people that was here in these areas would have been people that DNA does not go back to Africa. We're talking about people with DNA that's linked in with Perry's DNA going back 300 and something thousand years before any human species known to man existed. So these are the primordial man. This is the people who first came out the water. This is it. This is the gods of the universe that you're talking about. Right here in America, man. We are the river people. We are the vein. We are the everything, that whole everything.
They have been driven by the
Let's get it,
abundant
y'all. Drop
mica
some fire
resources of
emojis,
the
man.
western
Share
North
this around.
Carolina mountains. Here it says 2 views of the Garden Creek Mound #1 during excavating an east-west exploratory trench to the mound's center, and expose the remains of an Earth Lodge 1 at the left and Earth Lodge #2 at the right. So Earth Lodges, we have seen a few of those. Here is a diagram. It says excavation plan of the paired Earth Lodges at the Garden Creek Mound #1, based on work done here 50 years ago. There was a subterranean connection between them, and I'm sure there was purposeful intent the way these places were laid out. It says Garden Creek Mound #1 was constructed during the Pisgah phase and associated with a large village. The sequence of events for the mounds tells us a great deal about the Pisgah ceremony and social organization. Before the mound was begun, 2 semi-subterranean earth lodges were built side by side with a passageway between them, along with a large arbor-like building around the earth lodges. The buildings were probably used for communal gatherings. Later constructions added soil to the flanks of the earth lodges, and after their collapse, they capped them with a mound. Then 2 structures, a palisade, and a number of burials were placed on the mound. Here is the westernmost extent of the village and where one of the mounds was, and that definitely appears to be right in the middle of this neighborhood here today. A lot of these mound sites that don't exist today are kind of obscure, but the more you look and the more you research, the more you find on some of these sites. But here is an interesting pic of the excavation here, and this is a little strange looking. Let's just read. This was written by an Alice Wright of the Department of Anthropology, University of Michigan. The Blue Ridge Mountains of western North Carolina have long been cited as the source of sheet mica found in Hopewell mortuary contexts. In addition, over the past 50 years, archaeologists working in and around the southern Appalachians have identified exotic artifacts indicating that local communities participated in varying degrees in Hopewell interaction and exchange. Recent excavations at the Middle Woodland Period Garden Creek site in North Carolina have uncovered monumental earthen enclosures and mica craft production.
It said monumental. Let's run that back a little bit.
Exchange. Recent excavations at the Middle Woodland Period Garden Creek site in North Carolina have uncovered monumental.
Hey, and I'm gonna take a quick second. I'm gonna run this back. I want y'all to listen to what he's saying, but can I please? I encourage each and every one of you guys in the chat to please hit the like button. If we can get up to 110 likes, I appreciate that, man. Come on, man. Let's get the likes up. Support the channel, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We all could be doing something else. You feel me? So I definitely appreciate each and every one of you guys for tapping in here and supporting the channel, man. Let's continue.
In varying degrees in Hopewell interaction and exchange. Recent excavations at the Middle Woodland Period Garden Creek site in North Carolina have uncovered monumental earthen enclosures and mica craft production debris that closely resembles contemporaneous sites and assemblages in the Hopewell core. I found that interesting. Sheet mica has been found in abundance at Teotihuacan, probably had symbolic meaning as well as a practical purpose. But here is a look at some of the excavation work that was done here in the 1960s and 70s. And today's culture moved.
Look how beautiful that is, y'all, man. I just got to run that back just a little bit. That's some beautiful shit.
But here is a look at some of the excavation work that was done here in the 1960s and 70s. And then today's culture moved in.
Everything we do is monumental, man. We the monumental.
And after 50, 60 years, you just have no idea that an ancient culture probably lived here for about 1,000 years. What was discovered here was pretty interesting. These people are associated with the Hopewell and the Hopewell.
Hey, so it's showing you how the people in these particular regions was connected with these people in these regions. Like, this some dope ass shit, y'all. This some dope ass shit. Let's get into the next video, the next little bit of audio dealing with this particular region. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we're gonna keep it real. We ain't playing no games. We ain't playing no games. Let's get straight into it. Let's get into the next one, y'all. Let's
well taken care of, and some of them were totally just taken out with no regards to the archaeological aspects of it or anything. So it's kind of a wide range in that field. Some were kept up well, some were not. But we're going to go into a site in North Carolina, and I had a message from a lady in North Carolina that lives near this site. And
Now, the reason I'm showing these audio, you guys, because I just read 2 articles talking about sites in North Carolina in different areas from North to South Carolina, going back over 50,000 years. Most of them have similarities in each spot. So I'm showing you these audio so y'all can have a visual of what the historical spot looked like and what some of the scientific journals reported on these things when earliest found.
I looked into it and I found a good video,
And
and
so
that's
y'all
one
can
thing
get
that
the
I'm getting
visuals
pretty
as
good
well.
at is people that have shareable videos. I can find, if I can find a good one that has good shareable information.
I appreciate
sharing
y'all,
them
man. I really
because,
do.
one, I don't have to spend too much time on the video, but I can just go on to other videos that I'm going to be talking on. And 2, it gives you a good look around and not just me blabbing and showing words that I'm reading. That isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but this is a pyramid here, Indian Mound.
So this is called Town Creek Indian Mound. It's a historical site in North America and anthropology, paleontology, located near what is present day Glade, Montgomery County, North Carolina. So let's
State
go.
historic site. And this is what it looks like. There is what you'd say is a small pyramid here. And this,
You hear what he just said? He didn't say it was no mound. This guy is very, very well informed and learned on this particular subject. He didn't call it a mound. He just called it a fucking pyramid in North Carolina. Let's go.
is what you'd say is a small pyramid here. And this has kind of been reworked, but there was some good work done on the original site a while ago. And you're going to see that in the video clip. But this is what it looks like, and this is from what I have learned by looking at the video and realizing that these people had pretty good respect for this ancient site, that this is a pretty good representation of what it'll look like. And you're going to see historical photos of the excavation of the mound, so you can kind of put together the story.
Hey, the guy that's on this channel, shout out to CFC, the archaeologist out of Las Vegas. Me and him has been in communication. The guy who this is, you hear him speaking, me and him has been in communication. He watches the channel. He appreciates my work. And I am going to have him in on the bill real soon. He just recently dealt with the death of his father and his mother. So he's been dealing with that. So hopefully we can get this brother in here to drop some of this powerful information.
Story in your own
Let me
mind
pick his mind a little
of
bit.
what these people were about, kind of. But here it is. This is Town Creek, North Carolina, and the people who take care of this site put together a video. But here you see it, built just above a river. But here's that video now, and you'll get some good information on the site, and I'll see you at the end of the video.
Get out on that Native American beat, nigga. They need to throw some motherfucker James Brown on while they play this, but I feel them. So that's the actual site. Let's look at it, man. Look at this. This is like a pyramidal structure that probably has been toppled, destroyed during some type of battle that we had, or some type of war, or some type of, you see what I'm saying, going on in these regions that popped off in North Carolina, Virginia, Baltimore, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee area. They destroyed a lot of these pyramids. So look, this is some type of house hut on the top of this. So let me.
Welcome to Town Creek Indian Mound. This is a place full of mystery.
Support the channel too, man. Support the channel, man. Hit the like button. Share this around to all your social media outlets. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. Much love and high vibes to everybody.
Who were the people who lived here? How did they live?
Notice that this motherfucker right here look like a nigga with some money. And the nigga right here kind of resembles some KKK shit. All white. You feel me? Got the cross in his hand. You feel me? I don't know. Give me KKK vibes.
How did they live? Why did they build the mound? What was its purpose? The structures that you see today at Town Creek have been reconstructed to give us a glimpse of what the lives of these people might have been like, to help us better understand the people who once lived here. The temple mound, the burial hut, and the stockade are recreations of what was once an important ceremonial center.
Hey, I'm gonna just be real, because you know we are people of vibration and energy, right? The lady that's speaking on her, even though I can't see her and I've never seen her, I will put $1,000 that this is a black lady right here speaking. This is a Negro right here speaking. I put $100 on
lived
it.
here. The temple mound, the burial hut,
You just tell by the way she said
what the
Temple
lives
Mound.
of
Listen,
these people might have been like, to help us better understand the people who once lived here. The temple mound, the burial hut, and the stockade are recreations of what was once an important ceremonial center for the native people who built it. But when Town Creek was discovered in modern times, none of the structures were still standing, and the mound was just a small round hill. There are no written records from that time. How did we discover who these people were? How did we know what type of structures to build and where to build them? How did we find out how the structures were used?
you gotta dodge some of this hijack though. I'm gonna show y'all what it looked like in America.
The mystery began to unfold many years ago in a cotton field owned by Lloyd Frucci. There was an unusual mound in the middle of the field located on a bluff overlooking Little River. Frucci's mound had attracted the interest of relic hunters for many years. Approached in 1936 by archaeologists who wanted to study the site, Frucci donated an acre of land, including the mound, to the state of North Carolina. The location of the site itself gave these archaeologists many important clues about why the people who built the mound might have chosen to build here. In 1937, archaeologists began to study the Town Creek Mound site. They quickly realized that it was a major archaeological site, and the state eventually purchased 50.
Kind of look like they uncovering the pyramid that has been covered up with settlement, maybe due to a cataclysm. You see what I'm saying? A lot of this shit was uncovered and unearthed and overgrown because of the cataclysm. You know, this is how a lot of these creeks and canals became, because our people was here before it was created and made on this natural terrain, and we was here afterwards. So we knew how to move through this earth without some of these creeks that was newly in place due to the cataclysm, and we knew how to move afterwards. So this is just facts, y'all.
Additional acres surrounding the mound. For more than 60 years, archaeologists have overseen the systematic excavation, recording, recovery, and evaluation of the material evidence that remained from the people who once lived on the site. Under the supervision of Dr. Geoffrey Coe of the University of North Carolina and his associates, this
Yeah, he like it was all on drugs, especially the one they got highlighted. His ass was on drugs. Yep. Out here trying to steal my folks' land, nigga. Fuck wrong with y'all. Y'all standing proud like y'all got something to do with this shit here, nigga.
in-depth and long-term study has revealed many clues that are helping us solve the mysteries of these people. Careful excavation of the mound led to the discovery that it had originally been an earth-covered lodge that collapsed. The mound was built on top of the collapsed lodge. Cross-sections of the mound clearly show where small loads of soil were piled up to create the mound. A temple was built on top of the mound. When this temple...
See, what they not telling you is, what she just told you is, not only was it a mound or a platform, it was a fucking temple built on top of it. You understand that? You don't see the temple in none of the photos. It was destroyed. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all.
A temple was built on top of...
Listen. Look.
Cross-sections
Look
of
at this fucking building. This is a piece of a fucking temple. This ain't the whole, it's just like a piece, you know what I'm saying, of a temple, great monuments and shit.
The mound clearly show where small loads of soil were piled up to create the mound. A temple was built on top of the mound. When this temple burned down, a second virtually identical temple was constructed in the same place. Mound building of this type is a very distinctive cultural trait. By comparing the mound built at Town Creek with those at other sites throughout the Southeast, the archaeologists could begin to answer questions about when these people lived here and what their culture was like. It was one of many Native American cultures that flourished and then disappeared.
Notice they got a nigga up there though, draped up in all the motherfucking gold, jewelry. You know what I'm saying? This is a ceremony going on. You see what I'm saying? This is, and you don't get the land of the eagle because of the eagle. It's just because we made the eagle famous because look at the shadow in the background. Nigga, when he got up there and did his little ritual, all you seen was the eagle shadow in the background. You understand me? A Negro sitting high as you can see with the view of an eagle. Man, this is all allegorical, man. This is all romanticism, showing how our spiritual systems and how we learn from the things around us, whether insects, animals, plant life, biology, natural water flow. This is what we call ecology. This is the study of ecology, how things around you can be beneficiary to you and you be beneficiary to it, man.
Over thousands of years before Europeans arrived in this area. Archaeologists
That's the whitewash one. That's the real one. You see?
found that the people who built the mound at Town Creek were influenced by a Native American culture.
Look.
Europeans arrived in this area. Archaeologists found that the people who built.
Notice they try to get through this picture quick. Like, we used to do shit that we never thought we would never see. Like, you know how niggas be dreaming of monsters and shit, like making little scene. This was a scene. We never seen white people. So we was in whiteface, scary. This was like a spooky scene right here. You know what I mean? This was a spooky, spiritual, storytelling thing that they did. You feel me? About the Nahuda, which is when they get in whiteface and act like a white man. This was some scary shit to our people to see white people, man.
Built the mound at Town Creek were influenced by a Native American culture now called South Appalachian Mississippian. We do not know what these people call themselves, but this local group was named after the PD River by archaeologists.
They don't know what they call themselves, but it was named after the PD River, right? We know that these people are the first inhabitants. What do you call first inhabitants? Aboriginals. Aborigines. Keep that in mind, y'all. Keep that Aborigines, what they applied to the first inhabitants.
Zenith at Town Creek sometime between 1200 and 1400 AD. In addition to the excavation of the mound, an important part of the study was the creation of a photo mosaic of the area surrounding the mound. This task was accomplished by carefully removing the top layer of soil, a small section at a time, and photographing the features that were uncovered, like burial graves, stone hearths, and rotted posts. Pieced together, the photos began to reveal clues about the placement, size, and shape of shelters. Samples of materials from hearths and rotted posts were studied. Through radiocarbon dating of charred remains, archaeologists could confirm the time period when the people of the PD culture lived here. They could see where new structures had been built on the same site as old ones.
It said you can see where new structures was built on top of and on the same site as old structures. So just like today, that's how you can find a city up under New York, or a city up under London, or a city up under any one of your great cities in your area. The modern city that you live in now is built on top of another city. This is ancient Aboriginal systems that kept in place. You understand? It's to memorialize and keep the significance and the understanding and observe the energy of a particular area. So, it might be an update on things, but we just going to build on top of it. We ain't going to move to a new area. We're just going to add to it. And that's what they did, man. Let's keep this shit going.
Archaeologists could confirm the time period when the
that like button, man. We going in today.
Here.
I ain't done.
See
we got
where
more.
New structures had been built on the same site as old ones, and how the original stockade enclosed a much smaller area than later ones. People had lived here for many years, and it seemed that their population had grown. Further study of the composition of the posts showed us what types of trees were used, and the discovery of stone tools indicates how these people built their shelters.
You will not find stone tools going back over 20,000 years. And I'm going to explain to you why. You won't find stone tools after 20,000 years because before 20,000 years, it was advanced science. After the cataclysm happened, it lasted 1,300 years. In the midst of this going on, a lot of the science wasn't being used and a lot of it was lost. So after the dispersion and after the cataclysm and things started to settle after the Younger Dryas is when we started to developing our sciences again, right? So right now in the age that we're in now, we're still in developing mode. We're trying to get to what it was like before the cataclysm. Okay, so when you find directly after the cataclysm, you find stone tools because they was in a primitive state trying to get back to the advanced science.
Another important clue about the culture and lives of the people is found in the pottery and pottery fragments or sherds discovered at Town Creek. Each Native American culture had distinct ways of making and decorating pottery. The people of the Pee culture created many unique and beautiful pottery designs and shapes, which clearly indicated that they were influenced by the South Appalachian Mississippian culture. From the small sherds of pottery, archaeologists can also determine much about the methods and materials used. Some of the most valuable clues about the everyday lives of the people of Town Creek come from the most humble of sources. Looking at the remnants of the plants and animals found in trash pits and fire pits at Town Creek, archaeologists can determine a great deal about the food.
They said they found trash pits. If you was a savage and you was just a naked motherfucking nomad, why the fuck would you have an area where you throw your shit away? Nigga, that's what clean and civilized people do. They throw their shit away. They have a garbage area. You know what I'm saying? They have a living area. They have a cattle area. Savage people eat and sleep and throw their shit away where they animals is. They sleep with their animals. They eat with their, that's savage shit. We never did that. And that's what they did over across the other side of the globe in the Eastern Hemisphere. You understand me? Europe, ancient Chaldean or Mesopotamia, Africa. They eat and sleep. They don't even have these type of science, dealing with waste, environmental understandings. You understand me? I just want to drop that in. I ain't gonna keep stopping.
Foods that the people of Town Creek ate, how they hunted and farmed, and how they cooked. Often, evidence is microscopic and is only discovered after careful analysis in a laboratory. Scientific clues are also compared with the first written information
Dodge the
about
whitewash.
Native Americans recorded by the early European explorers.
Look at the niggas out there fishing while the white people were looking on the boat. It would have been the opposite way around, y'all. This is fact. This is whitewash.
Archaeologists found pipes, game discs, and jewelry as they excavated the site. Personal items reveal a lot about the lives of the people of the Pee culture. Only a few figures of humans and animals were found.
Like some niggas that just now got their science back and wanted to start making scolderines, and it looked like they was trying to make a nigga face to me. A big nose, big lips, you know what I'm saying? Nice little hair. You know what I'm saying?
Stone and clay effigies may represent how they saw themselves and the creatures around them. Pipes and game discs were also made of stone and clay. The jewelry from the Pee period found at Town Creek included necklaces, bracelets, and anklets made of shell beads. Larger ornaments made of shell, stone, and copper were also discovered. Most of the jewelry was found in...
Mostly they'll say copper, jade, and stone beads and shells. They only gonna show you the shells and shit. They ain't gonna show you the copper and all that other shit.
Graves, with children being more adorned than the adults in some cases.
You turn that motherfucker like a slight turn to the right or to the left, it'll be an X inside of a circle. It'll be an X inside of a circle. This was, see, I ain't even gonna put y'all up on game of what this is right here. This is science. This was a tool.
Our pipes belong to our clans, and we
Y'all gotta dodge the hijack, y'all.
treat them with special care. We offer tobacco as part
It's a white man acting like a Native American talking, y'all. Don't dodge the hijack.
of our prayers, and the smoke carries them to the Creator. The games we play in the plaza are very important displays of courage and help us learn the skills we need to hunt and defend the clans.
The general layout of Town Creek shows that it was an important
Like, let's be real. You gotta have metal tools to build a temple, unless you got a fucking dirt temple made of dirt. The fuck, nigga? That was concrete, that was stone. You gotta have metal to deal with this. You gotta have science.
social, spiritual, and ceremonial center for the people of the PD culture. In addition to the temple on the mound, which would have been the site of religious ceremonies and meetings, there was a smaller temple building facing the mound and a plaza or public area in front of the mound. The plaza was used for games, dancing, and important ceremonies. As a ceremonial center, Town Creek was the site of many burials. People of all cultures
They didn't tell you that when they tell you that the temple was facing a plaza and a court where they played games. Go to South America, Mayan culture, and look at all their temples and see if you see a ball court from where they played their games. This is the same system, you guys. Same fucking system, the same sport. It would have been a fucking temple layout. Then, mind you, some of the shit that we looking at Mayan shit is before flood, after flood. So this is after the science developed. You understand me?
area in front of the mound. The plaza was used for games, dancing, and important ceremonies. As a ceremonial center, Town Creek was the site of many burials. People of all cultures place great importance on how and where they bury their dead.
It said copper-coated wooden air disc. Shell bees. This is a motherfucking temple. Nigga, he buried in a motherfucking coffin. They buried him with tender love and care. You understand me? To show they respect and how they revered him. Savages don't do that. It told you Native Americans buried they motherfucking dead on the side of a trail wherever they was going. If they was going somewhere, you gonna bury them in a shallow grave on the way to wherever the fuck they going. I already played that video. If y'all want me to go back to it, I
And
will.
archaeologists learn a great deal about the culture of an earlier people by studying burial sites. Some of the burials were respectfully excavated and preserved for further study. Biological analysis of these remains can tell us much about how the people of PD culture died, and more importantly, how they lived. The majority of the burials were left in place and covered again with earth.
Man, I can't take this Native American shit.
We
Man,
bury
fuck
our
that
dead
music.
carefully and with reverence. We place their clan markers with them. We wrap them in woven mats or skins and place them into the earth and place over them covers made of sticks and straw. Then we bury them with the earth. When a baby or small child dies, we take extra care and make a pottery burial urn for the baby's burial. The baby will also be buried with ornaments of the clan.
We have learned much about the people who lived here.
Now that's what the fuck they would have been buried in. They would have built. There would have been a whole family or a tribe that would have been designated to been buried in this area. They would have been buried there, and it would have been a place for people to go grieve every year or every time of the year, whatever, in these particular places. Man, people got to start understand the sciences.
But there is much that remains a mystery. Was the arrival of the PD culture the result of new beliefs being spread throughout the Southeast? Or was it brought by people who came here from another place? And after 200 years of living and prospering here, what caused this culture to disappear?
They ain't disappeared, lady. And we're going to prove that here in just a second.
There is much we can still learn from Town Creek Indian Mound. It continues to be an important site for archaeologists to study. It is a sacred place that holds the mortal remains of the people of the Pee Dee culture. And to the many Native Americans who live in North Carolina today, it provides an important opportunity to celebrate and share their unique cultural heritage.
All right, man. So hopefully y'all got a good understanding of what's going on. Like I said, I'm gonna go right back to this because we're ancient humans here in America 50,000 years ago in South Carolina, and this article proves that. Let's go back to the topper site. Let's go back to the beginning so y'all can see. Right? Let's go up here. Let's go. What did it say? Topper. Right site in the middle of a controversy, right? So we know it was 50,000 years old. We know an impact happened at 12,000 years old. What do you start finding around 12, 13,000 years ago? Primitive shit. What do you find before that? Advanced shit. I'm just keeping up with y'all, man. I'm just making sure we keeping up with it. You feel me? Let's move on to the next little bit of audio that I have lined up for you guys today. Let's move into the next little bit. Let's move into the next little bit. It's the last one right here. Let's go.
The co-author on a study that upholds a 2007 study by Richard Fire. Hey everybody, I got a video here for you today. We're going to talk a little bit more about some ancient America, and we are going down to the Carolinas today, and we're going to talk about.
Like I said, I'm going to stay in the Carolinas as much as possible. I'm going to stay in the Carolinas as much as possible, you guys, because this is where I want to dominate at. This is what the information, the articles, and the research is pointing to. They said the origin of human civilization could be here. Walter Perry, or whatever the brother named Perry DNA that's found in the Carolinas, go back older than any Homo sapien human species known to man. It predates and it's older than any of that. And it's not ironic that we're finding the most significant monumental things in these particular areas. So I just want to focal in on the Carolinas.
About a few sites that really go back a long, long way. And the first one is in this area, and this is probably the most famous one. Now, I'm not sure exactly where the site is, but I think it's right in this area. It's east of the Savannah River. But I've had a couple conflicting sources on where exactly this is. Maybe somebody can straighten me out. And I know a lot of you saw this video on Geocosmic Rex channel, the channel that features Randall Carlson. But here they have about a 4-part series here from Graham Hancock investigating the Topper site, and I will leave links below. Now, I will leave the link below. This is from the Post and Courier. It says, we're ancient humans here 50,000 years ago. South Carolina discovery reveals people were in region before previously thought. And here is work going on at the Topper site. And it says, people were burning fires at a quarry near the Savannah River as far back as 50,000 years ago. That would have been before the worst of the last ice age and millennia before South Carolina is thought to have been inhabited. The stunning finding from the Topper site near Allendale could rock the staid research world less than 2 decades after Al Goodyear's first dig there took the lid off conventional archaeology thinking. Topper is a lot older than 15,000 years ago, Goodyear said, referring to the date he established with his earlier work. I think this is going to be the next frontier of exploring human origins. When and where did our people begin? When and where did they disperse? There's a lot at stake here.
That's a lot to say, man, at one particular site, man. Let's get it. Hey, we got 147 in the chat. If y'all want me to let this bill keep going, let's get these likes up and let's drop some fire emojis in the chat. Please support the channel, man. Please support the channel. You know what I'm saying? By sharing this on all your social media outlets. You feel what I'm saying? Let's go, y'all.
Remains of charcoal deep in the ground were found to be approximately 50,000 years old when they were radiocarbon dated. Other stone tool artifacts were uncovered alongside of them. Goodyear and the Topper team are preparing findings for a peer review publication. And I believe Graham Hancock will certainly feature this in his book coming up. He talked about it to put it in context. The startling recent find of stone tools, animal bones that have been butchered and mastodon tusk at a Florida dig. If the dating is solid and the artifacts identified as being anthropogenic, which is man-made, without any doubt, this is a splendid addition to our knowledge of early human occupation of North America, says Philip Manning, College at Charleston, paleontologist. I have no doubt that this will be a hotly debated topic for some time, as the paradigm shifts often take a while to gain acceptance, but the evidence appears to be solid. And I will leave the link for this below. Now, I made a video about the Town Creek Mound in North Carolina, but South Carolina has about 5 different mound sites that are recognized.
And I've actually played a couple of his previous ones so y'all can have an understanding. So, we wrapped it all up in one video today.
The Addison Mounds in Kershaw County, Blair Mound in Fairfield County, the Lawton Mounds in Allendale County near the Topper site, the McCollum Mound in Chester County, and the Santee Mound in Clarendon County. And I'll just show you here. We'll zoom into that Santee Mound. It's on a kind of a wildlife preserve here. And from overhead, you really can't notice it that well. I'll just zoom in here. This is located right on the water here. From overhead, you can't.
And our people always build some of their great significant sites right close to the water, usually in the elbow of a river. Look, usually in the elbow of a river. Look, I'm just telling y'all, man, this is
located
facts.
Right on the water here. From overhead, you can't really make out too much. Here is the Santee Mound today with the stair.
We're gonna do a build probably this upcoming right before the summer end. We're gonna do a mound build. We'll let everybody know what's going on, how much the tickets is to get on the bus and the van to be able to take these trips and enjoy ourselves and get some good information while we there, man. So yeah, we'll let y'all know on them soon.
Stairway coming up. But this is, they theorize, a burial mound coming from about 1,000 years ago. Now, the mound builders is fascinating enough, but if you go back maybe 11 or 12,000 years before the mound builders.
Say if you go 11 to 12,000 years before the mound builders, listen.
And you look at places like the Topper site and a few other sites I'm going to mention, we have evidence of human occupation going back 10, 30, 50,000 years. Do we really know anything about ancient America and the history of humans? Do we just have to dig down? Now, I will leave the link for this book.
Yes, you just got to dig down and start looking at the archaeologists. Don't make your assumptions on the archaeology. Let the archaeology speak for itself.
But it has kind of a general location of the site here. Some pics of the excavation. But here they go over the pre-Clovis dispute and some artifacts found. But what is clear? That's
Clovis. Clovis go back to 12 to 20. That's all between 12 to 20,000 years. All this shit that you see here. I'm going to show you what was around before 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 years.
Of South and North Carolina was totally different 11, 12,000 years ago. It was a totally different world back then. Now I'm just going to play a clip that goes over the megafauna that we have lost, that were roaming in the Carolinas.
I'm going to show you a clip of the animals that was living during the time. All right.
Maybe 11, 12,000 years ago and previous. And I think this is just fascinating. And the world did change 12,000 years ago. And
the world did change due to a cataclysm.
This is proof of that.
And 10,000 years ago, or 11,500, depending, there were a lot of animals that would be called megafauna. And we ordinarily think of megafauna.
Look at that.
Animals like
fucking elephant, some more shit, a tiger. Just look. This is what's going on in America, G.
Larger than a deer or larger than a bear, something that is really big. So what characterizes North Carolina 15,000 years ago was a great abundance of huge herbivores, so that we had giant bison, we had at least 2 different kinds of horses, We had tapirs, pretty husky-looking animals. You know, they're compactly made. We had two different kinds of hogs, wild hogs here. My goodness, we had camels. We had
Camels, you hear that? Camels.
hogs here. My goodness, we had camels. We had sloths, and some of the ground sloths were absolutely huge. They're probably in the range of small elephants, i.e. 3-ton animals, and they're all over North Carolina. The thing that really is spectacular, as far as I can see from my point of view, is we had 3 different kinds of elephants in North Carolina. Now, an elephant goes about 5 metric tons, 4 to 5 to 6 metric tons, depending on how large an animal we're dealing with. We had prairie mammoths. We had woolly mammoths. And we had mastodons, which lived in forests.
Now, in North Carolina, near Baden, and I think this is called Lake Baden here, but there are actually 2 sites called the Hardaway site. One is just called plain old the Hardaway site, and then the other one is called the Bochum Hardaway site, and this is the location for it here on this little map. But here is an article on the Hardaway site, and here are some artifacts found, and these go back at least 10,000 years.
Like I told you, you won't find any of those artifacts that look like it's going past 20,000 years.
Here are some more. And then there is another site called the Bochum Hardaway site, and this is the place.
And that's a theory that I'm putting together myself, you guys. I'm telling y'all, this is my theory. You will not hear this from nobody else.
On Baden Lake, it is located. And here is an excellent website on the Bochum Hardaway site that is, I think, about 20 miles away from the other Hardaway site, but really a father and son all by themselves did most of the research here. They weren't given any money, and they did a fantastic study, and I will leave this link below. You can click on different arrowheads and get different information and pics from the Hardaway site, the Bochum Hardaway site, and that is named after Heath Bochum, the site discoverer. Now here's the historical marker. It says Hardaway site, archaeological site key to understanding earliest native population. Its occupation dates to circa 10,000 BC. Now let's just listen to a clip from the University of North Carolina Archaeology, and they make their video shareable, which is really appreciated.
Mind you, they still saying that in these areas that they're talking about now, there's evidence of humans there 40,000 years before what they're claiming. 40,000 years before this.
Especially on this video. But let's just listen to them talk about the Hardaway site and why people came here.
People came to Hardaway for reasons other than simply acquiring resources. One important reason they came together was to acquire information. We know from the kinds of artifacts that occur at Hardaway that people were coming here from fairly distant places. And because of this, they probably brought different ideas and also new information that could be shared with other people whom they met at Hardaway. Another reason why people were benefit that people would have or obtain from coming to Hardaway was in terms of obtaining a mate. For most of the year, the groups of people, what we call bands, who came to Hardaway lived in very small groups and ranged over very large areas. And we think, based on contemporary ethnographic information, that people who live in bands generally practice what's called exogamy. And this is a practice of obtaining one's spouse from outside the group rather than from within the group. And so coming to Hardaway at certain times of the year, aggregating with other groups would provide more of an opportunity for obtaining a mate.
Now, I will leave a link to this video.
So in other words, they didn't practice ancestry, the fucking being incest. They didn't practice that. They went and found somebody else from somewhere else to go mate with. You understand me?
This is another site, the Barber Creek site, but this goes back 10, 12,000 years.
Let you know this was niggas, because we don't do that. We know what kind of folk practice incest. You know what I'm saying? Educational purposes.
And they have only got down to a certain level, but I will leave the link for this video below too.
And another video I will leave the link to is the prehistoric canoes of North Carolina.
Oh, I gotta do the build on that. I'm gonna show y'all that video
And
too.
they have found canoes as old as 4,500 years old and as long as 40 feet long. So those are really big, and those are pretty large canoes, as we would call them. But I will leave the links to these below too. Now, when reading about these sites, one thing appears certain. There is a layer where everything changed, and it's described as a black mat. And I know those of you who have listened to Randall Carlson's videos know about that. It's like a period where North America was set on fire, and then everything above it is different than what is below it. And this is physics.org, and I use them in my Great Pyramid Energy Study video. But it says, did a massive comet explode over Canada 12,900 years ago, wiping out both beast and man in North America and propelling the Earth back into the Ice Age? And I think man was basically wiped out in North America 12,900 years ago, along with the megafauna. It says that's a question that has been hotly debated by scientists since 2007 with the University of South Carolina's Topper archaeological site right in the middle of the comet impact controversy. However, a new study published today in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences provides further evidence that it may not be such a far-fetched notion. Albert Goodyear, an archaeologist in the USC's College of Arts and Sciences, is a co-author on a study that upholds a 2007 study by Richard Firestone, a staff scientist at the Departments of Energy's Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. Firestone found concentration of spherules, micro-sized balls of metals and nano-sized diamonds in a layer of sediment dating to 12,900 years ago at 10 of 12 archaeological sites that his team examined. A mix of particles is thought to be a result of an extraterrestrial object, such as a comet or meteorite, exploding in the Earth's atmosphere. Now, of course, we have Robert Schoch and others thinking it was a solar outburst, but the one thing we can all agree on, something really bad happened about 12,900 years ago. I think we can all agree on that. It says, the Topper story, Albert Goodyear, who conducts research through the University of South Carolina's Institute of Anthropology and Archaeology, began excavating Clovis artifacts along the Savannah River in Allendale County in 1984. It quickly became one of the most documented and well-known Clovis sites in the United States. In 1998, with the hope of finding evidence of a pre-Clovis culture earlier than accepted 13,100 years, Goodyear began focused excavations on a site called Topper, located on the property of the Clariant Corporation. His efforts paid off, and of course, the further down they went, the dates just got older and older and older, dating back really as far as they've gotten to 50,000 years old. People were making fires and pits 50,000 years ago, studies have found. Well, I think this is all very fascinating. This is the history of the very ancient Carolinas. Now, here's a timeline of what they discovered at the Topper site. 98 is when things really got going, and then it just got older and older. And then in 2004, radiocarbon dates to fire pits comes back at 50,000 years old. How much do we really know about the ancient United States, and how much is just simply buried and we just don't know? What does academia think about these sites that really are rewriting history? Well, I'm just going to finish it here with a clip from the University of North Carolina Archaeology Department and their shareable videos. I thought they were great, but I just screenshot this one. The audio isn't the best, but the information is still there, and it kind of wraps up this video. I hope you thought this was interesting, and you all have.
So yeah, man, that's pretty much it going in on the South Carolina region, man. I just want to, let y'all know, like, it's a lot of shit here that they're not telling you. And our history in America does not confine at 12,000, what they call Clovis first. We go back millions of years here in America. Before I move on, just to deal with some of the stuff that we was talking about that was brought up in this last bill. I kind of want to get to some of the canoes, right? They brought up canoes. Let's get to some of that right quick.
In BC on up into the colonial period, as I said. Yeah.
The first, a Timucuan canoe dated from 1000 CE, and the second, a Seminole canoe dating back to 1752. Historians estimate that at the time of European
Dodge the whitewash.
contact, Florida's native population numbered somewhere around 350,000 people. Dr. Gerald Milanich, emeritus professor at the University of Florida, tells us the relationship between the St. John's culture and the Timucuan Indians.
Somewhere between about 1,000 and 500 BC, we have enough information on the pre-Columbian peoples all over Florida to divide them up into archaeological cultures. One is the St. John's culture that lasts from 1,000 BC on up into the colonial period, as I said. Yeah, there probably never were Indians known as Timucua Indians. That was a term that the French picked up from some Indians on the St. John's River in the Duval County, what's now the Duval County area. It was a term that the Indians used to refer to their enemies. The Timucua actually were made up of probably many, many, many tens, perhaps 100 separate little societies. And some of those Timucuan societies certainly were in the general Orange, Seminole, Lake County area. And we find St. John's culture artifacts there.
These shallow waterways and miles of Florida coastline also made the canoe an ideal transportation solution to those who called this area home. With it, they could transport cargo as well as people, providing Florida's native peoples with access to the long-distance trade networks that stretch throughout eastern North America and the Caribbean. Dr. Mark Long, from the University of Central Florida, gives us a wider window to understand the breadth of these transportation networks.
Natives used canoes to link, in the case of Florida, to link Florida to a much broader Caribbean sort of environment, trade within the Bahamas and even Cuba. So there's a long-standing tradition of the canoe as a way of sort of making Florida's maritime.
You hear that? We was also using these canoes to go out and trade and get things from the Bahamas. You know what I'm saying? We was making these short distances to other places and communicating and building. Man, this is fire. Y'all, let's go.
Trade within the Bahamas and even Cuba. So there's a long-standing tradition of the canoe as a way of sort of making Florida's maritime presence be a useful highway rather than a barrier, right?
Recent drought conditions caused the water levels of many central Florida lakes to recede. As a result, almost 400 canoes have been unearthed from 225 sites around Florida.
400 canoes? You'd have never knew they existed if the waters wouldn't have never receded? Get the fuck out of here, nigga. This is the GOAT. This is probably like the most fucking canoes found at one spot ever.
Almost 400 canoes have been unearthed from 225 sites around Florida. One of the most significant instances occurred in Noonan's Lake, east of Gainesville. In 2000, a group of high school students found 101 dugout canoes, ranging from 500 to 5,000 years old. The discovery
500 to 5,000 years old. So the least oldest one is 500. The oldest one is at least 5,000. Come on, man. Let's go, man. Them niggas went from canoes to box Chevys to donks, nigga.
Discovery was the largest of its kind in North America. We talked to Donna Rule at the Florida Museum of Natural History about the significance of the prehistoric dugout canoe and these trade networks.
I think there's far more significance to the prehistoric dugout canoe and what that really means to not only transportation, but trade, travel, exchange, and the ability for Native Americans to move far more widely, far greater distances. We have evidence of hundreds of canoes now in Florida's prehistoric record, And that to me is suggestive that there's far more movement on the landscape, far more use of this as a means of transportation. But the other thing that it's showing us, and I think is an even more significant component to the dugout in and of itself, is that we have indirect evidence of canoe by.
That's a fact. The ancient seafarers. They just said that they got canoes going back 5,000 years, and they got an overwhelming amount of evidence that they was going to other land masses, like the Bahamas and Cuba. This is documents that could be of the first sea travelers, G.
By not only the obvious things like paddles and poles, what they were using to manipulate the canoes in and around areas, but we have exotic goods showing up at sites that you wouldn't expect, or non-local goods, if you will. Maybe that's a better term.
Hey, hit the like button, man. Everybody that's tapping in, please, please, please hit the like button. And if you can, share this on all your social media outlets. The world needs to know what's going on in America. We got evidence that we've been here in North Carolina area predominantly at least at 50,000 years. We got places in Texas that we got at least 400 million years. At least 1 million years, 4 million years. You feel me? In Texas.
We're finding chert in areas that chert wouldn't be. We're finding soapstone bowls.
Support the channel, man. The link's on the screen, ticking across, man. Support the channel, hit the like button, and also share this on all your social media outlets. Let's go.
That they couldn't carry a 40 or 50 or 60 pound material resource that comes from Georgia and find it on an island off the coast of Florida. These are the kinds of things that are very significant in how the canoe was a major part and an integral part of prehistoric life.
A similar discovery in Central Florida, like that of Noonan's Lake, unearthed the Timucuan canoe now on display at the Orange County Regional History Center in Orlando. It dates from 1000 CE. Donna Rule, who researched the Noonan's Lake canoes, tells us about how the design of these canoes changed little over thousands of years.
Interestingly, for years, people thought that the dugout canoe went through this evolution where you had a more crude form, if you will, or a blunt-ended canoe where both the bow and the stern were similar in shape. But after the result of the 2000 finding of the Noonan's Lake canoes, we had the opportunity to date 53 of the 101 and found that the earliest canoe, as well as one of the more recent ones, actually shows that that wasn't the case at all. There isn't quite this You
hear that? They saying that the oldest one had just as much advancements and intricate shapes, right, than the ones that's in present time. So it didn't go through an evolution stage where it was rough, it got kind of rugged, it was decent, it was okay, good to being great. It was already great when they started making these. This shows that these things and the evidence that and what they have found probably goes back a lot farther than that if they ain't finding a crude form to it. You see what I'm saying? It's already at a heightened stage when you find the artifacts. You see what I'm saying? It goes through no growth stages. So this shows that it was already here, developed already.
Linear evolutionary pattern. And what we're seeing is very similar forms through time, both in how they were crafted, as well as the shapes of these canoes with similar bows and sterns, as well as how they may have created thwarts inside of them for sitting on or standing, etc. All of these various components to the canoe do not seem to have a drastic change in shape until well into the contact period. So for almost 5,000 to 7,000 years, we see a very similar form.
It means it don't change until other people started coming here, and then their ideals was implemented on the development of these canoes.
And a very similar manufacture, whether it's canoes from North Florida or North Central Florida or even South Florida from the few that we have.
Following European contact, and
so I'm gonna end this video right here. Y'all go check out this video online. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna end it motherfucker right there. But you know, it's just showing that we've been here in advance. You know, it would have took tools to make these things around the globe. You know what I mean? So let's get into this next one. This is a hammer found in Texas, found in London County, Texas. It's called the London Hammer. It dates, the rock around it dates at 400 million years. The wood right here is dated at 400 million years. And this is man-made iron, right? Made with a bar through it, right? Directly through it. Okay, let's get into this. London Hammer was discovered by hikers in Texas in 1936. It was embedded in a tiny limey rock concretion originating from the Cretaceous rock formation 400 million years ago. The hammer headed is 6 inches long with a 1 inch diameter. It consists of 96% iron and 2% chlorophyll and 0.7%, 0.774% sulfur, and has not rusted since its discovery. This discovery greatly questions our modern understanding of human history and Earth's timeline, right? So this is the 400 million year old hammer found in Texas called the London Hammer. Let's get to it. I'm not screen sharing. How dumb was that? Let's get to it. So like I was explaining, this is the hammer right here on the screen. My bad, you guys. I'm sorry I wasn't already screen sharing, but this is the hammer. Like I said, this is the wood that was carbon dated. You understand me? This is the iron, what they said, 90%, 96% iron right here. Let's read into it. Like I said, let's read it one more time. The London Hammer was discovered by hikers in Texas in 1936. It was embedded in a limey rock concrete originating from the Cretaceous rocks formation 400 million years ago. The hammer-headed hammer is 6 inches long. No freaky. You understand me? No freaky. And 1 inch diameter. It consists of 96.96%, 96.6% iron, 2.6% of chlorophyll, and 0.74% of sulfur, and has not rusted since its discovery. The discovery greatly questions our modern understanding of human history on Earth's timeline, right? So this is the 400 million year old hammer in Texas, in London County, Texas. You know what I'm saying? So it goes deep. It goes deep. There's some shit out there that they ain't telling y'all. You understand me? And that's a fact. In fact, let's get to it. In North Carolina, this is what the senator called these people.
I've already taught public. When I was reading to prepare for this interview, I was quite surprised to see you use the word Aborigines talking about African Americans.
He called the people of today in North Carolina and the Carolinas Aborigines. He said he don't know why he used that. Listen.
I've dealt with that issue. I've already,
I dealt with that issue. Listen.
Taught public Americans. I've dealt with that issue. I've already, talked publicly about that.
And my purpose here today is to say that I'm very.
And listen, did y'all know that he has a degree in history, early American antiquities? The senator, he knew exactly what the fuck he was talking about. That's my point. All right.
Technology
Let's get to
for the
video.
fabrication of hammer with modern features. The inner handle underwent the carbonization process. The hammerhead was constructed with iron purity.
This is a video on the London Hammer, you guys. Let's get it.
Process. The hammerhead was constructed with iron purity, and this is only possible with modern day technology, according to research by Metallurgical Institute of Columbia.
Hey, before I get into this video, man, let's go back to it. Hit the like button, support the channel, man. Let me shout out one of the family that definitely supported the channel. Shout out to Latifah Miller. You know what I'm saying? Said showing the channel support, and I appreciate you. I really do. I appreciate everybody that support the channel. Don't let the sister be the only one to support the channel, man. Don't leave Latifah Miller out there to be the only one out there to support the channel. Y'all support the channel. Let's get
went the carbonization process. The hammerhead was constructed with iron purity, and this is only possible with modern-day technology, according to research by Metallurgical Institute of Columbia. According to analysis, the head of the hammer consists of 97% pure iron, 2% chlorine, and 1% sulfur. This curious artifact was discovered in the city of London, Texas, USA, in 1934. The hammer appeared embedded inside a rock, and since its discovery, there have been many theories about its origin, and most importantly, its incredible age. So how did this hammer end up embedded inside the rock? Well, for the hammer to finish inside the rock, it had to have been built before the rock was formed, and that would be several million years ago, according to Live Science. After its discovery, and due to all the questions the hammer raised, researchers decided to abandon this incredible discovery in the Somerville Museum in Texas. According to studies of the Metallurgical Institute of Columbia, the inside handle underwent the process of carbonization. The head of the hammer was built with an iron purity only achievable with modern-day technology.
So, nigga, we had the same advanced technology that we call today 400 million years ago. That's why I tell y'all, we're still trying to get back to this science. We're lost it after the cataclysm. So we had to start with rocks and build our way up to where we are now. That's why it didn't take that long to be slapping rocks to be in a fucking airplane. This is all new, and it's like riding a bike. We gathering our understanding of old shit again. It's called tapping into memory cells. They want their future to be like our ancient past. That's my slogan. And I think people are just now starting to understand that. They want their future to be like our ancient past. And this is to be the most advanced. You understand me? So let's continue.
Surprisingly, research also found that the iron had undergone a process of purification and hardening, typical of metallurgy of the 20th century.
Notice my man got the rebel flag back here in the background. I just want to point that out here. Shout out to them Chickamaugas, man. We're gonna be popping up. That history stay popping up. They can't hide.
According to analysis, the rock encasing of the hammer was dated to the Ordovician area. More than 4.
Y'all even fucking heard of that era? Like, how y'all even heard of that era before? Like, come on.
According to analysis,
Y'all ever heard of that era? Like, be real. Just say yes or no. I've never heard of that era.
the rock encasing of the hammer was dated to the Ordovician area, more than 400 million years ago. The portion of the stone surrounding the hammerhead also presented abnormalities.
Nigga, that's before dinosaurs. That's before motherfucking water, H2O was formed. Nigga, I think it was like methane gas running around this motherfucker. I don't know what the hell was going on there. You understand me? This killed all that motherfucking evolution shit, nigga.
Seeming to have merged with some type of sheath covering the hammer. According to geologists, the slow process of petrification dated back hundreds of millions of years.
He said, I always got a Confederate flag in your video, man. Shabute Jackson said that.
This has left several researchers to a quick deduction of the context of the incredible discovery, leading them to assume not only that there was human civilization before the historical process of petrification in Texas, but that this ancient civilization already possessed the necessary technology for the fabrication of hammer with modern features. The chemical analysis of the artifact also detected certain amounts of potassium, silicon, chlorine, calcium, and sulfur. Thus, this composition contradicts the hypothesis postulated that the hammerhead belonged to the fragment of a meteorite, since the bodies of our solar system do not have that type of chemical composition. Researchers also believe that since the head of the hammer was found embedded into the rock, it suggests that the embedding process was performed under different atmospheric conditions to the current, different atmospheric pressure, most similar to those in the remote past. Unfortunately, some scientists do not agree with the theory that ancient civilization created the hammer and claim that it was only a metallurgical technique that had been eventually abandoned. Whether the artifact is indeed a hammer dating back hundreds of millions of years is something that will fuel debate among supporters of the ancient theories and conventional archaeologists, who both have provided arguments explaining the origin and the age of the hammer.
Man, so I just want to leave that with y'all, man. That's the end of today's build. Hopefully y'all asses enjoy this, man. I just want to put together something nice for you guys. You know what I mean? It was something new that brought to me. And I want to just display some information just pertaining around, you know, this killing the ceiling that they try to put on American archaeology and the history here in America. You know what I'm saying? We've only scratched the surface. You understand me? So I appreciate everybody that popped in to support the channel. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate everybody, man. Hit the like button, man. Drop some fire emojis in the chat if y'all enjoyed this build. If y'all like to see more of these type of builds or whatnot, just drop some fire emojis in the chat. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's that London Hammer, man. That shit crazy, G. You know, when we got hammers going back 20, 30,000 years. And what I was trying to say, they was trying to show us on fucking boats getting swung around. Like, yeah. Information is there, man. It's there. All right, we got some hella fire emojis off in this bitch. That's what's up. I appreciate that. And I'm going to definitely try to drop some more of these hoes. I'm going to definitely try to drop some more. You feel me? Since y'all fucking with them, I'm going to fuck with it too, man. I fuck with y'all. Support the channel, man. You know what I mean? 400 million year old hammer. You know what I'm saying? $400 million. I mean, I don't even know what to say to that. That's some shit. 400 million is 400 million. You understand what I mean? We got evidence in North Carolina going back 50,000 years just with structures and monuments. We got a bloodline that's older than any human ever found on record. So I mean, America just screams origin of mankind. You know what I'm saying? It just screams gods of the universe. No wonder everybody mimic us, want to be like us, look at us, talk like us, want to come around us, take from us, and just watch us, because we are the greatest. We are the gods. And we went through a phase where we was hit with a cataclysm and put in a concussion, maybe had a loss of memory, and we're just now, we forgot who we are. You understand me? Now we're waking up the God that lies within inside of us. You understand me? So peace and blessings to each and every one of you guys. This your brother Aboriginal Power. We out. Make sure y'all stay aware, stay vigilant, stay dangerous.